Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. I used to do a lot of these videos when my YouTube channel first started, but I haven't done one in a long time where I talk about things that I have experienced the last week, month, or the last period of my life. Because one thing I've learned is that if I've experienced something and if I have struggled with something, there is probably someone out there that has experienced and struggled with the same thing. That's just how the world and life works. And for those of you who have been following my channel for a long time, you might have known that I have been running a clothing brand which I co-founded. And especially for those of you who watched my early tutorial videos on different applications, that's when I used to post and show a lot of things around the clothing brand. I no longer actually post a lot about or post a lot of these tutorial videos where I show you behind the scenes of the clothing brand and just how I set up things and how I include my clothing brand in things. But most of you have at least known that I have been running a clothing brand which I co-founded, and I am no longer doing that. So 2 weeks ago, I decided that I was no longer going to be involved in that project. I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. And there are many different reasons for why I decided what I did. But the main one being that I no longer felt passionate and motivated about it. And I feel like if you are doing these projects, it is really important to be passionate and to be motivated and to have at least some fun with it, because the chances of it failing or not actually becoming a success financially is so high that you have to find some other form of motivation, which in my case is enjoyment. I like to do things I enjoy like everyone else, but I actually put a lot of emphasis and prioritize that a lot to do things that I find really fun. And I decided that it was no longer fun. I no longer felt passionate about it. And for those of you who have been following for a long time on this YouTube channel, you might have seen that my earliest YouTube short videos actually were fashion videos where I styled outfits and showed them off. I no longer do those videos, even though I still like fashion. I'm not as passionate about it as I used to be. And that's just how it is. And I decided that it was time for a different project. I wanted to prioritize this YouTube channel. I wanted to prioritize my own personal social medias, and I just wanted to prioritize things differently. And that's one of the major reasons why I landed on my choice. But it has really felt like failing, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm actually going to talk about failing and failure and how it feels to be feeling like you're failing, even though you aren't necessarily failing. Because I I've always found it hard, and I've always had this fear of failing, and this feels like a major failure. And given the fact that we had 24,000 followers on social media and a lot more views, it feels like I have been failing in public as well, which makes it even harder. And I struggled a lot this week because I think there also is a transition period, from doing something every single day for 4 years, which I have been on the clothing brand. It has been a huge part of my life for 4 years now, to going to not doing it at all. It is no longer a part of your life. It has a transition period to it, which might be a little hard, and for me has been a little hard. That's why I haven't been posting as many YouTube videos and blog posts as I used to the last week. It is a lot better now, and it has been a lot better for the last 2 days. But mm, I just wanted to talk about the fact that it feels really hard when you feel like you have been failing, which I have been feeling like. And one of the things I've started thinking about this week is that it isn't necessarily failure, and calling it failure is, it doesn't do you any good. I would rather call it experiences, things, or experiences I've gained, things I've learned. And why do I want to call it experiences and things I've learned? It is because it is exactly that. It isn't failing. It isn't finished. It isn't done. I'm not a failure because that one thing didn't go as planned. I now need to take a step back, reflect on things, and figure out what I actually want to do. And then when I want to do that thing, I actually have gained a lot of experiences from my previous projects, which I can take with me to the next one. And when I talk about myself in this case, I want you to think about yourself if you have struggled with the same thing. So, in your case, whenever you decide to start a new project, or that can even be a new job. I got the job I have today because of the experiences I've gained because of the clothing brand which I co-founded. So the same goes like for you. It can be a job, it can be a new project, it can be a business you wanted to start, a dream. Whenever you start that thing, you have brought with yourself a lot of experiences from the past things you have done. And that's why I have had this mentality of saying yes to a lot of things when I was a little younger. I am still quite young. I'm 25 years old, so I'm still saying yes to a lot of things. But when I was a little younger, I actually said yes to almost everything simply because I wanted the experiences which I now have. And one other thing to like keep in mind is, was it fun at some point, the thing you failed at? Because if it was fun for a longer period of time, it wasn't failure, it was leisure. And like nothing is more important than finding things that are fun and trying to do them as for as long as you can. Like there is, in my opinion, nothing more important than finding things you're passionate about and things you find fun, because that is so important. So that's just like a couple of things I want you to keep in mind, and I just want you and myself to remember that the things we've learned from our past experiences are vital for the next things we start doing, for the next projects we have, for the next job or whatever it is. So look at your failures as experiences instead of failures, and also know that you have a lot of time. Be patient, and that is almost no matter what your age is. So I'm 25, and I will most likely live a lot longer. And with modern medicine, a lot of people will actually live a lot longer, and it is never too late to like start something you've been dreaming of. And the later you start, the more experience you have. But just remember that you have a lot of time, and every time something doesn't go as planned, it is a new experience. And I think that experiences is one of the most important things we can take with us going forward in our lives. So that is just a couple of things I want you to keep in mind, and just keep going, keep believing in yourself, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's what you learn from, and that is probably the most important thing to remember. Make mistakes, they are actually really important. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you again quite soon.